Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you do hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders, link in the description to that. You can also find it at the top of the chat as well. Free to join, you can find updates there, chat with other traders, chat with myself, share ideas. If you are looking to join a community, go check it out. Like I said, it's free to join. Links in the description and also at the top of the chat. But good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, we'll start with the dollar and then work our way through USD related markets, gold, silver. Of course, any requests, let me know. Stick it in the chat and we'll discuss. Of course, any time frames, let me know as well. Most of the time, I do spend most of the time on the 4-hour chart, but if you are a bit more intraday, let me know, and of course we will definitely take a look. But we did speak a lot about the dollar yesterday, and things were looking pretty bearish at the time, and not much has changed apart from looks like price is starting to respect support a bit. We do have this low, which did give us this swing to the upside, creating new highs. So it's a very pivotal low, meaning potentially we could see buyers step in at this area and take price higher. After all, it is the low that gave us the higher high. So potentially speaking, price could potentially continue this uptrend and see new highs. So that is a possibility, but not necessarily the outcome which I'm expecting here for USD. I'm expecting to see some upside. Market's been pretty bearish, so naturally I do expect to see a bit of a pullback. And of course, we're coming into a very bullish area where we could see buyers enter the market. So for that reason, I'm expecting a bit of a pullback, which looks like we are seeing. But I do think we can still see some more downside for a push back to the lows here. I do think overall we can still see USD weakness really enter the market long term. I believe that's the journey I'm expecting USD to take over the next few weeks, potentially even few months, if you really see the floodgates open. But since we did not respect this level at the beginning of the week, which was the real level I was looking for price to hold and continue to the upside from, since that level has been broken, I do have little hope for USD strength, to be honest. And I'm looking at potentially another lower high forming. Marked out this area here yesterday. Lovely support. Potentially could be turned into resistance. If the market could come back and revisit that area, I think that's like a nice area for a short then the dollar. Perhaps some longs on euro or longs on another USD pair. But for now, USD does not look too good. So at the moment, yes, bit of a bullish reaction. Looks like we're seeing some momentum this morning, but I don't expect it to last. Of course, I could be wrong. Potentially, we might see a swing low, but I think that's more on the unlikely side of things. And it'll be very interesting to see what we do at 100.4, 100.5. Potentially could see price push down. And if we do respect that area, potentially put the third lower high in, 1, 2, 3, then that could take us back to these lows and could be a pretty decent swing there for USD and just see that USD weakness continue. In terms of Euro USD, pretty much the exact same bias, but flipped, of course. So again, nice push to the upside. We did not respect this structure this week. This was the level I was looking for price to hold and potentially continue. But no, the market was a bit too bullish for that. And we did break above that pretty well. Again, long term, still looking for a push back to the highs there for Euro, back to 1.155, we'll call it. So I do expect us to eventually come back to the swing high. We do have a similar structure to what we just mapped out on the DXY, which is prior resistance here. Again, will be turned into support. We've got these high lows prices starting to form. 1, 2, looking for the third one. And I think that's a great place to potentially to look to long Euro. Of course, Euro's price action and the DXY's price action is pretty much the same, just inverted of each other. So again, if you can get them come down in sync, respect that area well, I think that could be a really nice place for a buy. And you got some decent risk reward to eye up there as well. Of course, you don't have to necessarily look for the big swing, but it's definitely a potential move. It can leave positions to run, trail some stop losses to take advantage of that potential move. But the way I see it, USD has been very bullish since the start of the year. I'm basically looking for that trend to continue. I was looking for a bit more downside first before we do push up, but it looks like the buyers have really stepped into the market this week. So yeah, if we can see another higher low, I think it's a great place for an entry to take euro higher. Pound USD, this one's been pretty bullish. It's semi-struggling at highs there. I mean, it is struggling at highs here. We did have resistance not too long ago on the daily chart, which did give us a very big move to the downside. Of course, you can see prices now back there again. So ideally, not the best place to be looking to buy the market. Like I said, I do think USD weakness can come into the market, but do I want to take advantage of longs and pound? Absolutely not. I don't think we're in a really nice place for a buy. You can especially see that with yesterday's candle close. Big wick to the upside, market pullback, and close just underneath the level. So that is telling us that resistance here is still being respected, still price is still struggling to break through, and we could be seeing a bit of a push down. Now, I still think the bigger move for pound is very much to the upside, absolutely. But if I'm looking to buy it, I need price to return back to some strong areas of support for me to consider going long. And that would be 1.31, 1.3. Those would be areas which I'll be happy to long from a swing bias, of course. Intraday, there will probably be some buying opportunities beforehand. But at the moment, looks like we're failing at highs. Perhaps there might be some downside now for pound USD. Very corrective move on the way up. It's not like we saw a lot of momentum with this push. It was very, very corrective. So that's a sign that, okay, potentially we are going to hold the level, especially with a big wick rejection there. I think that was yesterday. So yeah, pound USD, I think we can see a bit of a drop here. We'll see how far we push. I'm not too sure if we'll get there. If we do, I'll keep an eye for some longs here. I think that's the only place which I can potentially start to look to long the pair. Otherwise, this is bearish territory. If anything, I'll be expecting some downside now for pound USD. Dollar CAD was pretty bearish yesterday. USD was pretty weak. CAD was a little bit strong as well. Of course, that was a recipe of disaster there for dollar CAD. We did slip and slide to the downside, and it looks like price is likely to push back to support, which is at 1.376 there. So I do expect more downside for dollar CAD. We have since left behind some really nice areas of support, which of course potentially could be turning resistance now. And I do think it's a nice place for a short, especially if you can drop intraday, perhaps hourly, maybe 30-minute, even 15 potentially. I think this could potentially provide some nice shorting opportunities for, again, a continuation to the downside, back into lows and back into these lows here as well. So dollar CAD, I think is a nice sell opportunity actually. I was looking for a lot more upside for dollar CAD the past couple of weeks or so. I've talked about push into this area of support. I've talked about push into this area, but unfortunately, dollar CAD has not shown enough bullish momentum to get to those levels for some shorting opportunities. We just missed it. Looks like we're rolling over. Maybe we do push back up. If we do, I'm still waiting. I'm not saying these levels are not good anymore. It's just the likelihood is that we probably will just keep falling. If we do see a push back to those levels, great. I'll be looking to short, see if I can catch a swing high and push it back into support there. So those levels are still very much valid, but the likelihood is that we probably just continue to the downside without testing them. So that's what I'm kind of looking at now for dollar CAD. Basically a breakout, that consolidation, looking for the retest and the continuation. We might push a little bit deeper. There is this zone here we might tap into as well, so I'll keep an eye on 1.394. But in terms of direction for dollar CAD, I do think we just roll over here back into lows. Of course, I'll still keep an eye on these areas, but at the moment, not looking the most likely. Aussie dollar, still not a big fan of the price action, to be honest. Pretty much just looking at that as a consolidation. I've been talking about this ascending channel here. We've been chopping in and out of the channel as well, to be honest. So there hasn't been much consistency with that too. I still do think Aussie dollar is showing signs of fatigue and likely to push to the downside here in terms of retracement. Still looking to pick this one up. I've talked many times about that 0.625 area of support roughly. Kind of this area here, 0.625, 0.62. If we could pull back into that level, I think that would be a great place for a buy. Essentially, I'm looking for this kind of inverse head and shoulder pattern. There's your left, there's your head. Now anticipating the right shoulder. That's kind of your neckline there for the pattern. So it kind of looks like this. Not the most orthodox pattern in the world, but it does fit the mold. So if I can see that pullback, that would be great. Again, that's still quite a way away from current price. Probably have to see a pretty big drop for that to happen. It potentially could do. I will be waiting for that. To be honest, that's all I can do with Aussie dollar, because I am definitely not interested in trading anywhere in here. I'm still seeing resistance being respected pretty well. Potentially some lower highs here, so it looks like we are fatiguing, but at the same time, we're still keeping up the higher lows. It's just the lack of momentum is why I kind of expect price to roll over. But we'll see how Aussie dollar develops. I wouldn't be surprised either if we just kind of break to the upside and be on our way. But I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity in this area. Even on the lower time frames, I would stay away. New Zealand dollar. This one, I do like the buys as well down at the lows here. I think that's a nice place for a buy. More or less coming back into support here on the daily chart. So of course you got the prior resistance over there not too long ago, which potentially could be flipped as support. And I think from here, again, we can use that for a continuation. Looking at this as somewhat of a pullback for us to continue higher. That's our massive impulse to the upside. Now essentially I'm just looking at the pullback of that impulse for continuation. And yeah, looking at that as a retest for us to continue. I'm still pretty bullish on NZD, Aussie dollar. I think longer term, they do have more room to the upside than to the downside. So I want to position myself long. But if I'm going to do that, I do need price to be back at areas of support where I can get some safe stop loss, safe stop losses, some healthy entries at some lows, and then of course give myself a good shot at capitalizing on a big swing there. So yeah, NZUSD looking pretty bearish right now. Looks like this kind of ascending channel has been put to bed a little bit. Potentially a break to the downside after respecting some resistance here. Potentially now we might sell off back into support and potentially use that to push up. So I'll keep an eye on that opportunity. I don't think that's too far away. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. In terms of gold, gold's been somewhat bullish, looking a little bit corrective now. We still do have that descending channel. So again, just being a bit weary of gold as we do approach the high of this channel, because we very well could respect it and put in another lower high and come back down to where we started. I think for now, gold very much still in the bullish market, respecting prior resistance, turned support there. Of course, we came into the low end of the channel, did a really good job at respecting that area there. Last week, I believe, yeah, last week. This is the weekly chart, still looks pretty bullish to me. Daily charts looks pretty bullish to me. Yes, there's some signs of us slowing down, but not necessarily anything for a reversal. And if I'm not seeing signs for a reversal, then I've got to keep with that bullish bias and keep looking for buying opportunities. So now I still do like this area here for gold. Strong break to the upside, haven't come back for a retest. Pretty strong bearish engulfing candle this morning. Maybe that does take us back down into support. I still think that would be a nice place for a buy. Even if we do come crashing down all the way back to this area again, I think that's still a nice place for a buy on potentially a big double bottom. So first test, second test, and then potentially the reversal. The key thing I'm getting at is that gold is still very much in a bullish trend. No significant signs of reversal just yet. Yes, of course, signs of the market tiring, the fact that we formed a lower high here, the fact that we are pretty corrective on the way up. Yes, there's some signs of us slowing down, but no significant break of structures or signs of reversal. So I would expect the buyers to kick back in unless something changes drastically. So I'll keep an eye on 3250 and 3160. I think those are smart places for longs. Then in terms of silver, again, silver, same kind of situation as gold. Strong rejection this morning as we push back into the high. We did kind of break out of this descending wedge pattern here, if you will. And yeah, it was a nice clean breakout, but does silver have the juice in it to get back to resistance? Potentially. I'm looking at silver on the higher time frames. Yes, still very much a bullish market, but just very choppy. I mean, after all, this is still very much bearish territory here. You know, this is where we had a massive sell-off to the downside. So this is a heavy area of supply. So I don't really want to be trading in those areas. I've talked about silver. about potentially a push back into 31, a push back into 29, as I'll be happy to buy from those areas because I know I can hold a trade for at least a few days if momentum does really push it in my favor from those levels. At the moment, though, I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity. I mean, to be honest, it's not actually a bad place for a short. But again, I'm not really bearish on silver. I'm only kind of looking to buy it. I wouldn't really be looking for a break and retest on these areas either, just because momentum looks a little bit flat. I mean, we could use that to continue and push on, but I'll probably keep that intraday. I think if you can catch a nice buy on maybe like a 15-minute chart, trade it back to highs there, I feel like that could be a smart trade. Anything further, you might be asking for a bit of trouble. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Not kind of clear-cut opportunities, really, what I'm seeing right now. I mean, some pairs look better than others. What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What's up, Lebsy? Hope you're doing good. Julius, good morning, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Mateke, what is up? Hope you're well. It has been a minute. Hope you've been doing good. Welcome, welcome. LFTJ, what is up? BT hitting all-time highs, yes. Can we anticipate more upside? I'll go through Bitcoin in a second. But yeah, we did hit new all-time highs yesterday. Very bullish stuff for Bitcoin. Did we come back pretty hard? I'll go have a look now. John, good morning. I hope you're well. Welcome, welcome. UJ to hit 140. Yeah, UJ is looking very, very bearish at the moment. I mean, yen is looking very strong. Let's see a big push to the downside. We'll go through all the yen pairs shortly. Let me just go through Bitcoin quickly. So Bitcoin, yeah, looking very bullish. Okay, we didn't come back down. I thought we did. No, why? But yeah, Bitcoin, new all-time highs. We've gone and broken through them. Spiked into 112K. So, yeah, I mean, for Bitcoin, can we see upside? 100% we can. 100% we can see more upside. Market is still very bullish, still seeing higher highs and higher lows. I wouldn't say we're ripping to the upside like we've done in previous occasions, like we did over here. Very strong breakout. That normally entices a lot more upside. It's a little bit slower. Kind of resembles something more like this. I'm not saying that we're going to go through a massive retracement. We could do, but I'm not saying we are. I'm just saying the price action resembles something a bit more like this, rather than a massive continuation. Could be proven wrong if we see momentum really take charge, or if we kind of consolidate maybe like that, then that could entice a big breakout. But if we kind of just stagnate and ascend, let me get rid of that drawing. If we kind of just like become corrective and move up like this, then I would expect to see excuse me, I would expect to see another drop there for Bitcoin, to be honest, because the way Bitcoin does move, momentum creates more momentum. Right now, yes, we're looking quite bullish, but nothing too crazy, nothing where I'll get too excited, especially if potentially we start to see price create some wicks here to the upside as well. That's a bit of a red flag. But I would still say from a trading perspective, things are bullish, so I wouldn't be looking to do anything apart from buy the market. I mean, this is a lovely consolidation, which again started a lovely move to the upside. We had one over here. Price didn't come back to retest that one. Perhaps maybe price would be kind enough to retest this one, since especially we've created the all-time highs. Might see people start to sell some of their positions. Maybe that could bring price back down. So yeah, with Bitcoin, still very much a bullish market. In terms of the long-term move, yeah, the market's still bullish, but I would say we are a little bit corrective, so it doesn't give me massive confidence that I'm expecting price to continue a lot further, unless that momentum comes in. Then okay, I'll be at ease. But if we just stay corrective a little bit and kind of just slowly creep higher, that probably does mean a drop is on the cards. But for now, especially from a trading perspective, only looking for buys really. Nice range here, price left behind around 106K. I think that's a smart place for a buy, and potentially looking to continue Bitcoin higher. But yeah, impressive stuff for Bitcoin. Definitely a bullish market still. But what we do at this high is going to be very important. It's going to be very important. So that's kind of my take on Bitcoin. We'll go through USD JPY next. Cease integrated. Good morning, my man. Hope you're well. DMAR, what is up? Welcome. Managed to get in DXY small long 99.350. Okay, take profit 100.2. We'll try on stop loss up accordingly. Nice. Okay, I'll go take a look at that in a second. Let me just go through USD JPY. So USD JPY, yeah, yen pair's looking pretty bearish. As a whole, yen has been pretty strong. USD has been on the weaker side of things. Not so much since we last spoke. It's actually been a bit more sideways since we last spoke. But USD JPY did kind of push the downside a little bit. We had some news overnight as well for dollar yen, which did give us a bit of a spike to the upside, pretty much across all the yen pairs. We are still coming into this low here, and of course it's still very much a pivotal low, which did give us the swing to the upside. But do I expect price to have a swing back to the highs there? Not as confident as I was coming into the week, because I was expecting either price to either respect this area here or potentially the high there. Both areas disrespected. I think just in terms of buyers entering the market, this makes sense, but I think probably something like that might go and happen next. Maybe a bit of a head and shoulder pattern actually. So yeah, dollar yen, not as enthusiastic as I was with the buys at the start of the week. I still think it's a good place to buy the market. Certainly would not be looking to sell dollar yen. We've already had a big move. One, so the market is a bit stretched, and two, we're coming into this swing low, which we did see a lot of bullish pressure into the market. So this is still an area, if you're looking to trade dollar yen, it's still an area which buys look good from. But now my targets, my aspirations for the move have changed. I was at the start of the week looking for us to get back to highs. No longer expecting that. I do expect to see somewhat of a retracement, but we might start to find some resistance now as we do approach 146, and from there we might roll over. So I still think there's a buy to be had here for dollar yen. I would probably agree. I think 140 is probably looking more likely now. But like I said, not really an area which we're looking to short the market. We might get to 140, but I wouldn't say there's a trade there which we could take, or a good one anyway, to actually trade that bias, unless we see price have a bit of a relief, push up, maybe come back into resistance. Then yeah, we can probably plot a nice setup there. I mean, that would be a big swing trade. So maybe not looking to swing it all the way to 140, but you guys get the point. We need to push back into resistance first if we're going to base a trade and actually short it towards 140 at least. Right now, this is still bullish territory. Let's say if we get a strong close in the 4-hour candle, I mean, this current bullish 4-hour candle still has 3 hours and 30 minutes before it does close, so a lot can happen in that time. But let's say if we do get a strong close there, I think that could be a nice entry signal for the trade. Stops below the low, and hopefully take advantage of a swing back into 145,500. I think that buy opportunity still makes sense there. So USD JPY still do have somewhat of a bullish bias, but I'm no longer expecting us to have a massive swing anymore based on what we've seen. But we're still overly corrective, still coming into bullish areas. I do think we can still bounce, but yeah, perhaps we are going to get a bigger swing to the downside at this rate. I'll go through DXY, and then I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. At least, yes, I do have a video on entries. If you go to my Forex education playlist on my channel, probably need to scroll through a little bit, but there is a video on entries. Or if you just type my name in YouTube with entries, it should come up as well. But if not, you can go through the Forex education playlist. There's a lot of different videos on that topic as well. But yeah, in terms of USD, in terms of DXY, similar situation to dollar yen actually, in terms of we had a big bullish move, prices kind of slowly pushed down, now it's testing support again. From here we can see another reaction, in a similar case to what we're seeing with dollar yen. But we're seeing a bullish USD this morning, strong 4-hour candle, which is set to close in about an hour and 28 minutes. So we'll see how that holds up. But so far looking pretty good off this zone. Of course, this is the zone that gave us that swing. So naturally expecting buyers to enter the market. I talked about potentially a push to the upside into this area yesterday, back into 100.4. I still think that's I still think that's a reasonable expectation there for dollar. And if we can get there, reject it well, I think that could be a nice place for a short. CS Integrator said you're long from 99.350, which would put you around basically on that wick low. Very, very nice entry. And targets 100.2, which would be more or less the area which I discussed there. So that would make sense as well. So yeah, I mean, I could say we're probably looking at a similar move there from the low to the high, or that resistance level. So I would agree with that. The 4-hour candle is looking really good because it's basically saying that we've broken out of this consolidation and momentum has shifted to the buyers. So if we could see this candle hold itself up till it does close in an hour and 27 minutes, I would say momentum looks very much in your favor there. We can probably expect to see a bit of a rally this afternoon. Of course, will we get all the way to 100.2? Yeah, that will be up to the market itself, but that would be a logical area for us to push into for potentially a sell. So yeah, looking pretty good there. CS, I think buys look good from that area anyway. And of course, with the momentum we're seeing now, it looks like buyers are taking control a little bit of the dollar. Dollar CHF. Okay, I'll have a look at USD CHF. DT, what is up, my man? Hope you're well. I am doing good. Thanks for asking. Your digs looks more promising. 100.4 for reacting compared to 100.2. Yeah, I mean 100.2, 100.4. I'd say it's a similar area. You know, the market's not perfect. Potentially might be 100.2. It might be 100.4. It might even be 100.6. So I would say we're roughly in the same ballpark. Maybe we do push a little bit higher. I can understand 100.2. You're probably looking more so at kind of this wick over here. 100.2, I'll probably say that's a reasonable expectation. I mean, from a trading perspective, you probably want to be ready to maybe close the trade at 100.2 if you see alarming signs and signs that, okay, maybe the market's going to roll over. If things are still looking good, maybe you can hang on for a little bit extra pips to 100.4 and then close it there. But we're roughly in the same ballpark there. Of course, it will make a difference on your profits where you close, but I would say 100.2 makes sense too. And if you see some signs, some red flags there, I think closing the trade at 100.2 does make sense as well. But in terms of shorting, I would like 100.4 because it's just the more significant low. So that's kind of what I would short from. Okay, so we'll go through dollar CHF next. DT did a USD CHF sell trade last week, hit take profit yesterday. Nice, congratulations, DT. What about you? I'm not personally trading dollar CHF. I mean, I'll go through it in a second. Yeah, exactly, a trading range. Yeah, exactly. You know, anywhere between 100.2 and 100.4 would be adjustable area to close it, to close the trade. And sometimes having trading ranges is a bit more effective than just using a specific price, because of course, with that in mind, your price has to get to that specific price for you to close the trade. Whereas if you have a trading range, you're kind of looking for red flags anywhere within that space. But then, of course, you know, you always will have that price, because even if this is your trading range here, well, then that low is still a price, a specific price has to get to as well. So you do run into the same sort of situation, but maybe you're stuck between two swing points or two areas. What you can do is just box it off as a range and just look for red flags in here. Maybe close the trade here, maybe close the trade up here. You know, you're not too sure, but it does allow you to be a little bit more flexible. Anyway, so dollar CHF, another USD pair. So of course, long term, I do think more downside is on the cards here, not only in terms of the price action of dollar CHF, but I do think DXY is likely to keep falling, so that should drag dollar CHF with it. But I do think we've got a good chance of coming back to this monthly zone at 0.778, we'll call it. If I zoom out, look at the bigger picture, it's just a very, very bearish market that since 1970, we've just been in a downward spiral here. So I don't think anything has changed significantly. So I do think we're just going to end up back at support eventually. So yeah, dollar CHF still very bearish, still likely to keep falling. It does look like that support here has held and turned resistance. So of course, rejection once, twice, looks like it's held a third time as resistance this time, of course. And that potentially could give us continuation. So things are starting to look pretty bearish here for dollar CHF. Yes, we are coming back into support where we did see a lot of buying pressure come in, and of course they give us a big push to the upside. But I am losing confidence with the buys here with dollar CHF. I've been looking for a bigger pullback for it, but after what we've seen this week so far, of course it's only Thursday. We could still change by Friday, but if we do see somewhat of a bearish candle by the end of this week, if the week does close something looking like this, then yeah, I do think the following couple weeks, 3 weeks, we'll probably see price end up pushing back to these lows, and maybe we just see the continuation back to that monthly support which we just mentioned. So for now, for dollar CHF, yes, we're at support. There might be some buys here, but I think the bigger move is with the sells. So what I would keep an eye on for dollar CHF would be this zone here now. It has been resistance very well on the 4-hour chart, once, twice, a third time, support here a few times as well. Potentially that could act as resistance again. I think that could be a decent sell. Even if it's just the push back into support, I think that makes a load of sense. And if you can get the break of support, maybe you can hold on for a swing all the way back to the lows there as well. So I would argue that the risk is probably worth the reward with this one. You can get a fairly tight entry and stop loss, perhaps on the hourly chart maybe. You could be looking at some really big risk reward plays here for dollar CHF. So I actually do like this opportunity. I'll keep an eye on that zone because that's really where I'd want to short from, 0.83200 we'll call it. And as long as we can respect that, I do think dollar CHF is likely to fall. At the beginning of the week, I was looking for us to hold this level as support and then continue a little bit higher because I had some levels around 0.86 and 0.87, which I was looking to short from. But again, similar to dollar CAD, just looks like the market's just a bit too bearish. We're not going to see those bigger pullbacks. So this is the best I can see for now. So yeah, dollar CHF looking pretty bearish. Might be able to get into some more shorts there, DT, for dollar CHF. Some re-entries. James, given up on dollar yen, but thinking of buying pound USD at 1.335. Targeting 1.35, okay. I'm bullish on pound, but it's just not the best area for me to be buying pound USD because it's still trading at major resistance on the daily chart. But I'll go through that. Let's share and put my trades in 4 parts of a range. First position is a demo account. Second position is live account. Third is live account. Fourth, close all and reposition. Okay, interesting. First position is demo account. Second position live account. Third is live account. Fourth, close all and reposition. Interesting. Never seen someone combine a demo and a live account for trading opportunities. I know people do like to kind of stagger themselves into a trade. I've never really experimented with it, to be honest. I always kind of like the entry and stop loss situation. And of course, if I do get stopped out, normally I do have 2 or 3 areas which I'm looking to buy or sell from. So it might be a situation where you take 2 losses to take a win. Of course, you can mitigate against that by just having that bigger stop loss by entering a little bit earlier, so allowing the market to kind of play in your favor before pushing. A lot more thinking has to be done with that in terms of managing the position and your risk as well and your reward too. But yeah, interesting that you kind of manage things like that. Anyway, let me take a look at the pound idea. So yeah, pound USD, as I said, I don't think is looking particularly great for buys. I am bullish on the pair, believe it or not, but just not at the current price. You know, massive resistance to our left there, gave us a really big push to the downside not too long ago, and now we're back there again. So I don't really want to be buying at these prices, especially with yesterday's close, massive wick into the high, we pull back, close underneath the level. You know, this is a clear sign that bears are doing a pretty good job at stopping price breaking out. If we did break out, that's a different situation. You know, if price did have a massive bullish candle breaking through, well, this will be turned support and we could be seeing some lovely retests off the back of that. But that's not the reality just yet. We need to wait for that break to happen to justify a break and retest and looking for upside there. You said you're looking for buys from 1.335, which would be roughly about here. Maybe off a retest with the high there, then you're looking to take it back into 3.5, which is up there. So I'm not to say that we can't do that. We definitely could. But it's just, I don't want to be buying at these prices. The market's already had such a big bullish move already, so we're a little bit stretched. We're coming to major resistance, seeing real signs of failure there. Again, we can break out. I'm not saying we can't, but I don't want to be in a trade to try and find that out. I'd rather price break structure first and then pulls back, and then I can find some opportunities on the retest if I'm interested, of course. But yeah, we could come back there and bounce, but based on how things are looking, I would stay away personally. The first is always retail range. Second is always I'll use a stop loss. That will be my entry actually. Okay, thanks for watching. Nick gave me this idea years ago. Okay, nice. Okay, happy to help, James. No problem. It's great to hear your insight as well. Thus, I'm a fan. No problem. Yeah, it's always interesting because there's so many different ways to trade the market, which is something I like, because you can develop your own kind of personality in trading and what you prefer, what you don't really like, what helps you, what doesn't help you. You can really just play around with it and make it yours. So I kind of like that freedom about trading as well. I do think, kind of staggering your positions is a good way to kind of mitigate against potentially unnecessary losses as well, because you might take, a loss just to take a win when you could potentially stagger yourself and not take that initial loss as well. So that can definitely help with that as well. But yeah, it's definitely each their own, whatever kind of works for you. Like I said, I haven't really experimented with that, so I'll be very new to that. Of course, I can understand how it works, but actually doing it in practice is a whole different situation. Maybe someday I do look to try it out. I'm kind of happy with the way I enter trades now. But maybe it could be something I do experiment with. Maybe it might make me more profitable. If that's the case, I'll be a fool to overlook that. But yeah, interesting that you use that, because not a lot of people do trade like that, especially retail. It's a bit more rare. Let's see, what's your sentiment on CAD in general? I'm pretty... It's kind of mixed, to be fair. I don't really have a clear-cut bias actually on CAD, because some pairs I'm expecting CAD to be weaker, some pairs I'm expecting CAD to be stronger. So yeah, I'm kind of actually mixed on CAD, to be honest, looking at it now. Yeah, I'm quite mixed on CAD. Again, CAD's not really a pair which I pay overly too much attention to. The main pairs where I try and get a bias for would be USD, Yen, maybe sometimes CHF. Those pairs are normally what I kind of have a bias on most of the time. Sometimes I will pay a bit more attention to Aussie and NZD, maybe sometimes Euro and Pound, of course, sometimes CAD. But those three are the main ones I try to look to. If I can get buys for USD, buys for yen, buys for CHF, then everything else kind of picks itself really. But in terms of CAD pairs, a little bit mixed to be fair. Pairs like Euro CAD still do look remotely bullish to me. Pound CAD still looks remotely bullish to me as well. Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD, I do think there's still more upside for these pairs too, but I think it's more to do with my bias on Aussie and NZD rather than CAD necessarily being weak. Dollar CAD, I do think that is likely to drop overall, but again, that might be more to do with my bias on USD. I'm pretty bearish on USD rather than necessarily being bullish on CAD. CAD Swiss, I do think that can see some upside, but again, that's because I'm pretty weak. I'm pretty bearish on CHF there. So yeah, not necessarily have a clear-cut bias for CAD, to be honest. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I think I probably would favor more to the weaker side of things. From a swing bias, I'm more looking to short the CAD than long the CAD. Pairs like New Zealand CAD, I do think more upside is on the cards here. Aussie CAD, I do think we can still see some more upside with this one as well. If we look to continue this bullish structure of higher highs and higher lows, can still see some upside there. Euro CAD, of course, somewhat bullish here as well. Very choppy, but there is somewhat of an uptrend here, and of course Pound CAD, somewhat an uptrend there as well. Even though it might not be obvious to spot, but it looks like we are still trying to push up as well. So yeah, I probably would favor more towards the bearish side of things for CAD, but it's not like an overly bearish CAD where I'm expecting big moves here necessarily. Like I said, the three currencies I tend to have a bias for is USD, JPY, and CHF. Yeah. So, Antonio, what is up? Hope you are well. Bias in New Zealand yen, yes, I'll go through the rest of the yen pair. So I was taken out for a loss in Aussie yen. We'll go through that second. I'll go through New Zealand yen first for Antonio here. So New Zealand yen looking pretty bearish. Not CHF, sorry. Yen was pretty strong. Well, not incredibly strong, but it has been stronger since we last spoke. And we had some news as well early this morning, which did kind of invite more strength for the yen. And we have kind of pushed on a little bit here. So yen being a little bit strong, NZD I think is a bit weak as well. Has caused New Zealand yen to drop. But this is actually something I'm looking for because I've spoken about this area here last week. I said this is kind of my preferred area for a buy now for New Zealand yen. So if it can keep falling, maybe a couple more days, potentially some point next week, we could be talking about some buys around 84, 83.5, and some big swings as well. We did just about break structure here. So basically what I'm looking for is a big inverse head and shoulder pattern. There's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder. If I whip out the head and shoulder pattern tool, so there's your left, there's your head, there's your right shoulder, there's your neckline. So now I'm just looking for price to get there and give me that bounce there. And that's where I look to find my entries. At the moment, of course, looking pretty bearish. There might be some lower time frame selling opportunities in the meantime if that's what you're after. Maybe price does pull back to retest something like this. Maybe that could be a nice short on like an intraday time frame to write it down. But I do expect the bigger move to be with the buyers. So with that taking into consideration, this looks like a really big swing. But that's what I'm looking for. So I like the setup here for New Zealand yen. There's a lot of upside on the cards here. So if I can position myself well, if you see that swing play out, could be a very, very nice trade indeed. But yeah, that's really what I'm looking at for New Zealand yen. Still looking for the buy here. But yeah, we're going to see how price reacts with 84 because that's going to be a very interesting area. But yeah, in terms of Aussie yen, so I did have a stab at Aussie yen yesterday with the double bottom, but did not play out. Price didn't respect support here. We broke through. Actually had a small retest actually, and then we continue falling. But I'm still looking at pretty much a similar opportunity to New Zealand yen as with Aussie yen as well, which is the support level here, which we're trading in at the moment. So I'm going to keep a close eye to see how Aussie yen develops here, because if we do respect this well, I do think Aussie yen can make the same move back into resistance, maybe even further as well. Of course, there is your inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder, and that's what I'm looking for the buy. So I'm going to see what happens in this area. Of course, at the moment looking pretty bearish, so not a lot to go from here with Aussie yen just yet. But let's say if we can start to respect lows, maybe see a nice shift in momentum, maybe a nice double bottom. That's something I'll be looking for in terms of an entry. Stops below the low and targets back to where we came from. So I still am looking for that swing, but interestingly enough, the yen isn't really playing ball right now. I'm still looking for lower high, mainly because we are still very corrective on the way up. So I'm still under the impression that we can still drop. We do have these lower highs to our left. So we have the double top up there, the lower high there, lower high there, lower high there. So again, looking for essentially another lower high for a push back into support. So that is still very much the take I have for the yen. If we do go and break structure here, that's where things get quite interesting. I mean, I'll probably still be looking to short as long as we can respect this 7K level. If we break through that, then I'll scrap that bias. To be honest, then I'll just expect continuation. But I am looking for us to roll over here for the yen. And that should be a pretty big swing as well if it does happen. So I still do see upsides, but other yen pairs haven't looked as good, I must say. I think New Zealand and Aussie still look somewhat good. We'll see how price develop at those areas. But seeing momentum shift is going to be very, very important. No problem, Lebsy. Happy to help. When I start trading, no problem, Antonio. About maybe 8 years ago now. Yeah, 8 years. So quite a while ago. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen basket. So I'm keeping a close eye on this. I'm not giving up on the yen sells just yet. I just think we're having a slightly deeper correction than anticipated. Or at least I anticipated anyway. But I'm still looking for that swing to the downside. Some of the other yen pairs not looking that great. CAD yen, I'm just going to leave alone, to be honest. We have just... Did we break structure? No, we didn't. We just about respected it. Because last time I had a look at it, price was breaking through. But looks like we just pulled back before the candle closed. So... technically speaking, not broken structure yet, but again, I don't think it looks great at all, to be honest. I'm basically, I've got half a mind of just chalking this up to consolidation and just leaving CAD-yen alone. I mean, I'm not really interested in the pair anyway. But the analysis coming into the week was, okay, we've got some bullish structure here, which potentially price could look to continue and see some more higher highs and higher lows. Excuse me. Now we come back into the low here. This is the last point of call. If CAD-yen is going to push up, it has to be from this area. If price does break through this area, well, I was going to mark this as a range. At that point, I'd probably expect price to do something like this, maybe. And until we break support well or break resistance well, I won't be interested with any setup there for CAD-yen. The next clear setup I take would be if price can break structure here and pull back, or break structure to the downside and pull back. That's the only way I see opportunities here for CAD-yen. That's if we break structure, which looks like we're on the cusp of doing. But I will say, though, we are still pretty corrective on the way down. It's not like we've seen CAD-yen plummet to the downside. Yeah, we were looking pretty bearish initially, but things have become very, very corrective here. So that does give me the impression that a push up is on the cards. Whether it's going to take us all the way back to the high or maybe halfway and then we drop back down again, only the future will tell us that. But I still think that's a nice place for a buy, and we can see some upside as well. So I do think we can push up. You also advised, thanks for helping, no problem. So I got to go finish up my shift. No problem, DT. Take care, my man. Hopefully see you on the stream tomorrow. I'll take that, Nordy. Look like Michael B. Jordan. I'll take that. I'll take that a lot, I'm not going to lie. I have to do a little stunt double there. LFTJ years ago, I didn't know what Forex was, knew about Forex when an ad popped up on my Google about it. Yeah, I mean, that's how a lot of people get into Forex, actually. Ads, probably some guy in a Lambo. That's another way people get involved in trading. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while, to be honest. Looking back, it's been a long while. CAD governor speaks today. Let me actually go through the economic calendar. I know yesterday was a pretty dry one in terms of news, but I know today we've got a lot of PMI. We had PMI for Aussie earlier. We've had a PMI for Euro, France, Germany as well earlier, pound as well. And I do believe we've got PMI for USD. Yes, we do. They've got jobless claims at 130, PMI at 245. That's the UK time, by the way. So keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are trading USD or pretty much any pair, to be honest. USD can affect any pair, but especially, of course, dollar. We got CAD. Yeah, we got CAD speech later on today as well. Got ECB speech at 4:35 as well. Then we've got retail sales for NZD at 11:45 at night. And then tomorrow we've got JPY inflation. We've got retail sales for pound, retail sales for CAD, new home sales for USD as well. So yeah, a bunch of news events here and there for today and tomorrow. I think the biggest one is probably PMI, for USD this afternoon. And probably the JPY inflation as well. That could be interesting. Tishepiso. I'm probably saying your name horrendously wrong. Forgive me. But what's up? Hope you're well. The DAX, yes, we will take a look, no problem. Yusuf, good morning, my man. Hope you are well. I am doing good. Thank you for asking. Actually, that's so accurate as it kind of course it is. It's always a Lambo. That's the I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. But I feel like it's only has to be a Lambo. No other car as well. Not Ferrari. Not any other type of supercar. It's just a Lambo. But yeah, to be honest, when I do speak about how people got into trading, I'll probably say that's the most common answer. An ad with a guy in a Lambo. That's definitely the most common answer. So you're not alone, LFTJ. Nordy Gold, sure thing. We'll take a look. First, I will go through the DAX, and then I'll go through gold as well. So last time I looked at the DAX, we were looking pretty bullish. Is that still the case? For the most part, yes. We are looking a little bit tired though, so I would be a bit wary of that. Of course, we've cleared the highs, we've created new all-time highs. The DAX has been very, very bullish. All great to see, but I do think a retracement is on the cards in the next few days now. I've looked at the S&P. I think that's been down a little bit. NAS, I do this a lot now. Actually, only hit the F1 key there. Apologies if I blinded anyone there. Just went from a dark screen to a light screen there. But yeah, so with the DAX, I do think we are running out of juice and we could see some downside here. Looking at the price action on the lower time frames, it's very corrective now. Seeing this ascending channel here. Yeah, that to me screams retracement pretty soon. And judging what we've seen with some of the other indices as well, I do think the DAX can go through a bit of a sell. Now, would I look to sell that just because I'm expecting price to push down? Absolutely not. It's always a bit difficult to catch the sells, especially when you're trading an indice which is at all-time highs, still very much in a bullish trend. You know, we could keep chugging away. You know, that could be stop loss after stop loss, and then eventually we do take that dive. So it's always difficult to time, which is why I would avoid looking to short it. I may be expecting the retracement, but I'm not seeing a great opportunity to sell it. Yeah, so what I would be looking for would be that retracement and then somewhat of a high low later on for a buy. Now, where would that high low could be? Potentially the low here. Kind of lines up with resistance there to the left, so 23,400 could be an interesting area. I do like this wick here where we stabbed to the downside and then saw that flush of momentum. I think that's a great place for a buy. I'm not too sure if I expect price to retrace that much though. So I think the high here is the most likely option. But I still do expect more upside for the DAX. Yes, I'm expecting a drop and downside, but that's purely just retracement. Mainly because we've been bullish since the low here and we haven't seen much downside since then. So naturally we do deserve a little bit of a drop here. But I do think the bigger move is still with the buyers and still going to see new all-time highs and new highs past that point there. So very, very bullish on the DAX. But if we can see a bit of a flush to the downside, take a breather, that will be brilliant. Perhaps a retest of the high there. Maybe keep an eye on that area just in case. But yeah, I would like to see some retracement before more upside. In terms of gold, so gold's still pretty bullish on this one. We are approaching the upper end of this channel, so I would be a bit more cautious now. Again, if I expand to the daily chart as a whole, this is still very much a clear uptrend. You know, it doesn't take Einstein to work out that that's an uptrend there. So I would only be really looking to buy gold. I know we're seeing some signs that the market is tiring, and possibly maybe we are looking for a reversal or a bigger retracement, which is yes, we definitely are. But I'm not seeing any significant signs that the market is breaking structure or looking to reverse. So as a result, still fixated on the buy, still looking to take gold higher. So I've mapped out two areas which look good. First area, which is some broken resistance here, which could be turned support around 32.50. I think that's a sensible area to look for some buys. And the second area to keep an eye on would be a double bottom at the lows here. If price can push back into support, I think that could be a nice area for a buy. And again, potentially you got that swing on your side for a big move. I would be cautious as we do push to the upper end of the channel, just in case price does form another lower high. We've already got 1, 2. There is a possibility we form a third, and we do have a big sell-off. So, you know, being cautious of that. But in terms of what I want to do with gold, the buys for me still look to be in control. So I would preferably only be looking to buy the market. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on both of those areas, but still looking for more upside. So hopefully that makes sense for gold. Yusuf, Euro, GU, GJ, gold 15. Okay, we'll take a look, no problem. Julius was wondering if NZUSD has gotten to the weekly buy you analyzed some weeks ago. Not quite there yet, but looks like it's on its way. I think NZUSD has been looking pretty bearish. Bearish this afternoon, so I think we can see some opportunities there. That's probably going to be for next week anyway. Maybe Friday. But I'll go through the 50-minute time frames for Yusuf, and I'll take a look at the NZUSD trade. But since I'm on gold already, let me just hop onto the 50 now. So yeah, yesterday we talked about a push into 32.50, didn't we? For a retest for that level, but that retest did not come. I believe we're trading around here. looking for the retest for the buy. I mean, that retest for a buy still looks good, but I probably wouldn't trade it on the 15. If I'm going to look to take a buy on 32.50, I probably would scale no lower than the hourly chart for a buy, actually, because that would give me a strong enough entry where I can back the entry and not be too cautious. 50-minute time frame, the candlesticks won't be as meaningful as I want them to be. So I think 32.50 is still a great place for a buy. I actually think on the 50-minute time frame there might be some selling opportunities. We still need some development for that. But let's say if we can start to put some bearish structure into play, there could be some sells on the way down to that level. And this could be something you look to try and take advantage on, maybe a break and retest somewhere. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of development needed for us to identify some shorting opportunities. But if we are going to retest 32.50, we have to, of course, get there. And on the way there might be some nice shorts to take. So I'll keep an eye on that. I still think 32.50 is a great buy. And I still think this level here is a great buy, but of course, we're nowhere near there. And on the way down, especially in the 15, there might be some shorts to look after, look after. But yeah, that's the best I've got for gold on 15s. Not a lot of information here. Price is still really corrective. We are coming back into this low where we might bounce, but I wouldn't be looking at that as a good buy opportunity. So that's the best I've got there of gold. Not a lot of information to work with there, to be honest. In terms of pound yen on the 15, so yeah, pound yen still clawing its way to the downside here. I've been looking for this one to bounce. I've been looking for all the yen pairs to bounce. We just haven't seen that. Looks like price is going to be working its way back towards this area. Nice area of demand where we did have a really big rally to the upside. Now looks like price is working its way back into that support area. So perhaps from here we might see price bounce and see a continuation. And perhaps we could see some signs of reversal on the 15. I think if you're looking for the 50-minute time frame, sells still make the most sense. We still do have these major swing highs here. So I'll be looking to see if we can get another stab to the upside, to be honest, to swing it back down to the lows. Maybe coming back to retest some support there. That could be something I can look at. Trying to catch the next swing. One stab, second, third. That could be a nice area to short. And then swing it back down. Similar to the dollar yen idea that we talked about yesterday. I think that could make a lot of sense there. I still think the bigger move is the upside for pound yen. But from a 50-minute time frame, we're not necessarily looking to catch a 200 pip move. I mean, I say that, but it is pound yen. There's a lot of pips here. That is about 130 pips, so maybe you are. But for pound yen, I'll stay focused with the shorts. The market structure is still very bearish here. If you're looking to short, you're in the kind of right direction of the market. Yes, we're a bit corrective, and yes, I do expect us to reverse, but until we see signs of that happening, shorts are still your best bet there. So keep a close eye on 193. This looks like a good setup. Gold, not seeing much we can work with here, but pound yen is providing some nice opportunities. Euro USD, again with this one, still overly bullish here. Looks like we're pushing down. Structure to me is shifting. We're seeing some higher lows now, so I do quite like the buys here with Euro USD. Looks like we're approaching some resistance here. Will be turned support. I think this could be a nice place for a buy. I'll still watch out for this area here, but that could always be your first target for the trade. And you can monitor how things look there. If we're seeing some rejection and momentum slowing down, perhaps you can lock in some gains or even close the trade. But if everything goes well, that is what I'll be looking for the 15. See if you can basically continue this market structure, find the next higher low, and keep pushing to the upside, because we're seeing some really nice swings here. Can we see the next one? And can we trade the next one, of course? But yeah, there is some obstacles in our way here which could turn price against us. So I'll keep an eye on that low at 1.3146. But for the most part, I'm very, very bullish here for Euro. I like the structure. 4-hour chart looks pretty bullish to me as well. Yeah, as a whole, I like the buys, and we have reacted to this area here. This is, an area of supply which gave us a big push down. So that is your area of resistance there, and price has respected that. But now we've pulled away. We're coming back into bullish territory, which would be this area. Tap into that well. That would make a nice place for a buy and possibly new highs as well. In terms of pound USD, I don't like the buys as much, mainly because we are trading in massive resistance. As I've spoke previously, look to the left there, major resistance, humongous sell to the downside, and now we're back there again. So I wouldn't really be looking to try and buy into that. Even if I expect price to break the high, I wouldn't want to be buying into that regardless. I'd wait for price to break the high, and then look to buy in a break and retest or something like that. In terms on the 15-minute pound yen, so as I said, we just cleared the highs there. Not the best place to be looking to do business, to be honest. There might be some buys on a double bottom here for another push back up again. Basically just continuing that market structure, similar to Euro in terms of consistent high lows. We're looking for the fourth one. If I quickly just shift over to Euro, it's the same idea pretty much here with those higher lows there, looking for the fourth one for the continuation. But Euro's not running into trouble. Yes, there might be some supply on the left here, but the major high for Euro is all the way up there. So I think Euro is the much better buy in terms of where we're situated. You could argue that pound is the stronger currency, and it is, but based on where we're trading, you can very much see spikes and ugly price action at this type of area. Because you probably could be seeing higher time frame, longer term positions being closed, and you might see a bit of chaos, especially in the lower time frames as well. So yeah, from a 50-minute standpoint for pound USD, could be a nice buy in the double bottom there. That's what I would keep an eye on. But I think Euro looks a lot better. I think pound yen looks a lot better. I'll focus on those two, to be honest, out of the four. Gold might develop into something, but that's probably still at least 24 hours away. Yesterday got into GU grade and took partials midway early in the morning. I got taken out break even. Okay, nice. Again, well managed. Not every trade is going to fly off to targets. Some trades might just be a partial win. Some trades might be losers. Some trades will just be a flat break even. It does depend, of course, how you manage your trades, but the idea of managing positions is knowing what to do in between entering and exiting, because you can be very kind of one-dimensional in terms of, okay, I'm just going to enter a trade, have a target, and have a stop loss, and just let price do its thing. If you do that, it's not a bad idea, you can definitely do that. But there are cons, just like there are pros to it as well. There will be situations where price goes well in your favor and then potentially turns back down again. So what was very close to potentially hitting your take profit actually turns into a loss there. Just by managing a trade, you can maybe drag stop loss into profit, or at least break even, or maybe secure partial along the way. So worst case scenario, if the market does do that, you still walk away with a small win, or at the very least not a loss, so a break even. And that's where management comes in. But the positive side of doing that is that sometimes you will get trades where it does go in your favor, might come back to test your entry, and then continue to your target. But you maybe have gone to break even, so you'd be knocked out of the position and then miss out on the winner. That will be a situation as well. And I always say, when you do go to break even, you do take partials. It's never a mechanism. It's not a tool to optimize your winners. It's a tool to minimize your downside, which is a very, very important part of trading. If you could lose less, it allows your wins to be so more effective. Because if you're losing so much, even if you do have a big win, it just gets you back to break even. But if you lose not that much and you just have the same amount of win, well, it takes you into profit, and then you lose a little bit and takes you into profit, so on and so forth. if you could just half the bulk of that loss, you know, that then takes you into profit rather from a loss. So break even is a great mechanism. It's not there to optimize your returns. Well, it is, but not in a way that you're gonna hit big winners all the time. There will be times where you do get taken out break even, but it's there to slow your downside. You know, make the market have to work harder for you to see a losing trade. But in terms of NZD/USD, you asked me about a long. I am very bullish on this one longer term. I do think there's a lot more upside to be had with NZD/USD, but I am looking at this area here for a buy. So at the moment, we're in the middle of nowhere a little bit. We just respected some resistance very well, like last night, was it? No, yesterday afternoon. We've broken out of this ascending channel, so it looks like momentum spilled over and we're looking pretty bearish right now. Possibly putting another double top in, actually, just like we did over there. But yeah, I do think upside is likely, but I do need price to push back into this area, and then I'll look for opportunities, because what I'm looking for is this as an impulse and this as a retracement. So there's your impulse, there's your correction, there's your next impulse. So impulse, correction, impulse, very, very simple pattern you see everywhere. But if I'm going to trade that, I need price to be right at the lows so I can get a safe stop loss with optimal entry at the lows, so I can maximize my risk to reward and also make sure that my stop loss is in a safe place where I'm not vulnerable to getting wicked out unnecessarily. But yeah, that's really where I want price to be, right at the lows, and the buys there. So this is where my interest lies for NZD/USD. I think NZD is looking pretty weak right now. I think Aussie is looking pretty weak as well. So I do think we can see price get there. I am looking for Aussie and NZD longer term to be strong. So I'm going to have to be patient with that because we need a lot of momentum to shift right now. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. It's the same situation with Aussie dollar. Although I think Aussie dollar is looking a little bit messier. I'm looking for a push down for a buy. And yeah, the push down has to be pretty big before I do look to buy that back up. But in fairness, I do think Aussie dollar will give me the bigger move. So if I can get the trade on Aussie dollar longs, I'll be quite happy with that, because I do think it has a lot of room to maneuver into. But Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, very similar pairs. So I expect them both to push up, really. Expect them both to push down initially, though, and then push up, hopefully, in the longer term. But yeah, in terms of kind of where my head's at, in terms of where I'm looking to trade, well, I am still going to keep an eye on the yen pairs, because I still think there's a lot of upside there. In particular, Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. I'm still quite eager to buy Aussie and NZD pairs at the moment, even though they do look pretty weak, but things can change pretty quickly. In terms of Aussie yen, so keeping a close eye on 92. This is still definitely a pair which I'm looking to trade, get into some buys and take it back into resistance at 95.5. We're trading at a very interesting price right now. So if I can see some development here, I would be looking to take some buys and take it back up again. If I whip out the fib, I don't think we've even hit the 50 yet, have we? No, we haven't. It would be nice if we could spike the 50, but I'll be happy to buy without it, because it's a level which marks the head and shoulder pattern. So if you can hold that well, I'll be more than happy to take some buys there. But that would be one of the pairs. Well, it is one of the pairs on the watch list. New Zealand yen, same situation, just maybe less likely to form, just because it's a bit further away. But pretty much the same idea. You could probably argue New Zealand yen looks a little bit better than Aussie yen, because we've seen a break of structure there, which indicates that this bearish structure is of no more, and now we're looking to follow this bullish bias, whereas Aussie yen didn't quite do that. So it did retest the level but not break through, so it's not as a high quality of a setup as New Zealand yen, but same situation for both of them. Reason why I'm bullish on both of them, because they do the same thing 9 times out of 10. If New Zealand yen is going to make this move here, back to resistance and higher, it's going to be very unlikely for Aussie not to do the same. It might do it in a slower pace or take a little bit longer, but it will most likely do the same move. So if I do see a decent buy opportunity on Aussie yen or New Zealand yen, I'm just going to pick the better one and trade that pair. But yeah, New Zealand yen buys look really good to me. It will hinge on what the yen basket does. For now, I'm still pretty bearish on. We do have resistance here, which again, potentially could give us somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. Left head, right shoulder. You could potentially see price roll over there. So it's going to make or break there on the yen. Other yen pairs I'm not as keen on. Pound yen, not really that keen on any trades there, to be honest. Yeah, not as keen. I still do think we can see that rally to the upside, but I do prefer Aussie, I do prefer New Zealand. Euro yen, not keen on at all, to be honest. It's looked pretty bearish this morning. Coming back into support, we could bounce from there, but again, nothing clear cut there, and it's just basically trading in a range as well. So I'm not a big fan of the price action for Euro yen. We spoke about CAD yen. I said very, very choppy price action. At support, might see a bounce from there, but not a big fan of the price action at all. And Swiss yen we haven't actually spoke about, but for good reason. I don't like the pair at the moment at all, really. Trading at resistance, failing to break through, seeing first, second, third attempt there. So price is clearly struggling at that price. Do I expect price to break it? Not necessarily. I don't expect price to push down. I'd actually lean towards more of that, to be honest. Another push like that, I think, is more likely than a break to the upside. So if that's the case, that means yen's going to have to be pretty strong and CHF's going to have to be pretty weak. Weak CHF, I can get behind. I'm still looking to buy quite a few CHF pairs. Aussie CHF still on the watch list for a long. Hasn't quite shaped up yet, but I'm still looking for a push back into this area. I'm keeping an eye on the 4-hour chart to see how we develop. As long as we don't break through the low here, the bullish bias stays intact. Right now, kind of just looking a little bit messy, but I am looking for something like that to prevail and give us the swing to the upside back into 0.55. So this is still very much on the watch list for this week and next week, most likely, unless we don't break structure between now and the end of the week. New Zealand CHF, very much on the watch list as well. Looking for a buy from that one too. This was the last swing that gave us that push to the upside, which just about broke structure there. So again, looking for a buy to the upside there as well, as long as we don't break the low here. I do think we can push back into supply up there. I think we can push further than that, but at least a push back into that area is on the cards. Other CHF pairs, not as convinced. CAD CHF doesn't look that bad, to be honest, but I just think Aussie and CAD are a lot better. Again, it's the same situation. A pair that's coming from all-time lows. As we can see, dating back all the way to 1982, price hasn't been lower. So I would expect us to have some type of recovery. But as I drop to the 4-hour chart, look at price action. Doesn't fill me with any confidence, really. Nothing that looks like a good setup, so I stay away. But I still have that bias, just no opportunity to trade it. Other CHF pairs, Pound Swiss, not a fan at all. Euro Swiss, not a fan either, to be honest. Dollar CHF, I do actually like the look of this. I got my words mixed up there. I do like the look of this. More so to do with USD being weak rather than CHF being strong here. I do think we can see more downside for dollar CHF, especially after retesting 0.8346. No problem, Julius. Happy to help. Please hit the like button, subscribe, one love, appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help with the channel, promotes the content a lot more, helps grow the channel as well. So I do really appreciate if you can leave a like and subscribe if you're finding it useful, helpful. That does really help out. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But thanks to everyone who has liked so far. But yeah, dollar CHF, as I was saying, USD looks primed up for some more weakness. So I actually like the look of this more so because I'm shorting the dollar, not so much that I'm buying Swiss. But yeah, I like the look of this to the downside, so I'll keep an eye on the retest of that level. And that's kind of it with the CHF pairs. Aussie CHF longs, New Zealand CHF longs, dollar CHF shorts. Excuse me. In terms of the USD pairs, so again, dollar CHF looks good. I mean, I'm struggling with the USD pairs for now, maybe apart from dollar CHF. I think NZD is the only one that actually looks respectable right now, because I know we're not too far away from a setup. I know we're not too far away from setup, so that is definitely something likely. Aussie dollar, we are very far away from a setup, so yeah, nothing really to report on there. Pound, don't really like the price action, to be honest. Higher time frame, yes, I can get a good read of that. I'm pretty bullish on it, but I don't have an opportunity for me to buy it if we're just going to struggle at resistance. Euro USD as well. I do expect more upside, but I feel like this is more of a setup for a lower time frame trade. So like hourly, 50-minute chart. I feel like you can find some nice opportunities there. But anything else, I would stay away really from Euro. And then of course gold and silver. Silver, not really a big fan on. Nothing really to do there. Might be some nice buys on the retest of that level. I think if you can drop to like maybe even a 50-minute chart, might be some nice buys on the retest, but I'm not a fan of silver at the moment. I am bullish long term, but the way we're kind of struggling right now is not a good look. You know, these are the two levels I mapped out for some buys, but you can see prices nowhere near that. We're trading in this massive area of supply right now. We did have a brief pause there. Price tapped into it once, tapped into it again, strong push back down. Yeah, I don't really see much of an opportunity there. I do think long term we'll likely take up the highs. It's just, it's difficult to actually take a trade there. So that's kind of where I'm at with USD pairs as well. In terms of the indices, I'm very, very bullish on that. Adrian, I have no idea what that means. But indices I'm pretty bullish on as a whole long term. But we have seen some corrections from them. And yeah, S&P, pretty bearish day yesterday. We're still comfortably above the 200 moving average, so no alarm bells being rung. NAS 100, similar situation there as well. That's still looking very, very bullish. I think we're just going to end up back at the all-time highs in no time. And US 30 as well. Very bullish there. This one is still struggling at resistance. Still failing to break the highs here. Still failing to break the 200 moving average. So things are not looking that rosy for US 30, but because NAS is looking very bullish and the S&P is looking very bullish, I'm expecting both of them to continue back to their respective all-time highs. I just expect US 30 to join the party, really. Very rarely you're going to see US 30 be in a bearish trend and S&P and NAS be bullish. So I do expect it just to continue. But in terms of actually finding opportunities for these pairs, for NAS 100, I still stand by this area and this area below us as well. We had that big gap in the market too. If this level doesn't hold, well then on to the next level. Those are the two levels that look really, really good to me. And two levels where I think if we can reject well, you can position for a really big swing trade back to the all-time highs. 22,100. I believe that looks like a reasonable expectation. So I would argue for US 30. If we could push down here, hopefully find some entries, a swing back to the highs looks like a likely outcome. So that's your first attempt, see if it holds. If it doesn't, second attempt there, see if it holds. You probably have some nice confidence with the second entry there, because you probably have the 200 moving average lining up. You've got the retest from the prior high on the left as well. So that would be a really nice opportunity that does tick a lot of boxes. But yeah, US 30, US 100, sorry, looking very, very bullish. A push back to the all-time highs looks very, very likely. S&P 500, pretty much the same situation as well. Drop to the 4-hour chart. We've looked very tired. So again, we were expecting that push lower. You can see how corrected we were moving. Push, pull back. When the market's moving like this, it just makes things very, very corrective, and we've had a push down. So I do think if we can push back to this area, 57.20, that could be a smart place for a buy. I could probably also suggest that high there as well. So yeah, both those levels do look good, 57.80 and also 57.20 as well. And then from there, potentially some bigger swings back into resistance. But do you expect us to move back to the all-time highs? 61.39. Hi Elf, what is up? Small suggestion could you make so that the elevator trader logo is on the right side of the screen? It always hides the ticker you're looking at. I do have the information on the screen then in the center. The S&P. I mean, I probably should move it to the right anyway, actually, because it's just more space to the right. So I probably will do that anyway. But the pair I'm looking at and the time frame is always on the middle of the screen there. I can make it a little bit brighter if it's not clear enough. If that helps. But yeah, I probably will move it to the right anyway. No problem. Hi Elf. It's funny though how that does actually blend into the price action, that you kind of miss that. But you're not the only one. A few people have actually made that comment as well, that I should move the logo to the right hand side because they can't see the pair or the time frame. Then I say it's in the middle, and they're like, oh yeah, it's in the middle. But I think I probably would just move it there anyway, just to save the trouble. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for the indices. Still very bullish, just looking for a pullback, then expecting a lot more upside. I think even for the FTSE 500, FTSE 100, combined two markets there. Yeah, that's looking very bullish as well. Yesterday, was that yesterday? Or was that Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday spoke about some pullbacks to retest the high here. Haven't quite seen that happen just yet, but we're not too far away from doing that. So yeah, if we could pull back, retest the high, I think 8,700 looks like a smart place for a buy. Then naturally expecting a push back to 88.50. So what I'm seeing across the board, strength across the indices, which normally means, okay, people are comfortable, put money back in the stock market again. Means times are looking a little bit better, at least for now anyway. I wouldn't rule out another small crash, to be honest. But yeah, things are still looking pretty bullish right now. So that could mean potentially more dollar weakness as well. When dollar's weak, stocks go up. When stocks go up, dollar's weak. So that probably invites more selling pressure there for the dollar. Again, I'm still looking for that push back to 100.4 at least. So I'm not looking to sell the dollar just yet. But if we could push back to the high, which would actually be very nice, because if we could push back to the high there, that probably gives us the pullback in dollar CHF as well. So if USD can push back to resistance, that probably give us a push back to resistance there for US 30. And this looks like a really nice level for a short. rejection on multiple occasions and healthy rejection too, I think it could line up really, really nice shorts there to take it back down. And then depending on how aggressive you want to be, you've got targets there or targets there. I'll probably be looking for the bigger target, but I would secure at least some partials there at the least, just because that could very well take price up against me. But I do think the bigger move is the likely one as well. In terms of the crosses, I haven't spoken much about the crosses, and to be honest, for good reason. I mean, I was trading pound Aussie earlier. I still do expect more downside for this one, but it's just not shaped out how I wanted it to. So for the time being, I'm going to be a bit more cautious with this pair. I did say if I find any re-entry signals, I'll look to get back into a trade. But I just haven't found anything that's clear cut, to be honest. And that's probably a good thing, because it's probably going to keep me out of taking an unnecessary loss. So until price action develops well, because what I'm looking for here is basically there's your high, there's your low, so that's your swing. And now I'm looking at this being the correction of that for a continuation. So very, very simple stuff, not looking for anything complicated. If price does keep pushing and we do end up taking out the high there, then of course we've got a break of structure. And at that point, I wouldn't be bearish anymore for pound Aussie. But of course, we haven't done that yet. So I'm still looking for a lower high. But all I'm seeing is momentum, consolidation, continuation, more consolidation here as well. I won't be surprised if we do see another continuation. Now, I do still think the bigger move for pound Aussie is to the downside, taking into consideration where we're trading. The fact that we're taking out major highs here to the left, these are from COVID. I do think price can push down and pull back, perhaps retest some structure here to the left, which was the original plan there for pound Aussie. But yeah, since then we haven't really seen price get going. So maybe if we can form some type of double top here, or maybe see some exaggerated wicks to the upside, that would be enough for me to enter a new position, expecting that swing to happen. But for now, things are looking pretty corrective. Taking a look at pound entity as well, as partner in crime. This one looking pretty bullish as well. Again, I've been looking for a bigger pullback. Perhaps we are putting another higher low in. The trend is still very much to the upside. I do wonder, are we just seeing continuation of that? I would be a bit skeptical as we do push back into resistance here. I've got a feeling we could put a high in and come back down. So there's your first high, there's your second, and there's your short. That's kind of what I'm looking at there for pound Aussie. Something like that. And that can take us back into the lows, because I'm not really looking to continue the trend anymore. I know the trend is still up. But based on both of them where we're trading, we've taken up major highs a long time ago. I do feel like the bigger move is down, so I'm not interested in buying them up anymore. I'm more interested in the sells, but I can obviously see that price is still quite bullish. We double bottomed here and did take out the highs here, so that's definitely a bullish indication. But we are coming into pretty significant resistance now, so it's make or break for pound NZD. If we do clear this level well, then yeah, I wouldn't be looking to sell the market again if we clear that well. If we struggle, see some wicks, double tops, I might actually look to have a stab at a short and see if I can take price back into the lows here, maybe further if things go well. But yeah, not quite convinced with the buys for either of them. Not quite convinced. I think Aussie and NZD are a bit weak. We're seeing a bit of a reaction to that. I don't think we can continue for the bigger move. Jason, thoughts on gold here. Gold, for the most part, pretty bullish. I know we're looking a tad bearish this morning, but as a whole, I would only be looking for some upside. The market is still in a bullish trend here. No major signs of reversal. So I'd only be looking to buy the market, essentially. Yeah, so if I was looking to find an entry, There's two levels I like. One on the hourly time frame that looks pretty good, which is 32.50 here. So as you can see, the high lows 1, 2, 3. I think that's a great place for a buy there. Solid break of resistance. Was it yesterday? No, day before, Tuesday. And we haven't made it back there for a retest. So I think that still makes a load of sense there for a buy. Equally, I like this 4-hour level just below us at 31.60. I think that's a very sensible place for a buy as well. If we can make our way there, possibly a big double bottom. So first test, second test, reacting with the high. I think that's a great place for a buy. And then, yeah, looking for a swing back into, well, potentially the all-time highs, back into 34.84. I would, of course, watch out for the high of that channel, because there is a world where we do put another lower high in. 1, 2, 3, we push up and come back down. Because again, gold is very much in a bullish trend, but we understand that that bullish trend is not going to continue forever. It's got to stop at some point. It's got to retrace. It's got to reverse at some point, even if it is all temporarily, which we expect it to do. Gold is a long-term bullish market, so if we do push down, it's just a retracement. But we do expect that to happen. It could happen now. It might happen in the next swing. We might go and hit a 4K first before it does happen. So difficult to predict. But as a trader, you got to be ready. You got to be reactive. For now, everything is still pretty bullish. But hey, if we push here, see some aggressive reactions, it might be a time to close the trade, or at least bump up your stop loss to break even, or even to a bit of profit, however you want to manage it. But yeah, those are two levels I'd watch out for, depending on your kind of time horizon. If you're a bit more intraday, then I'll focus on this area. Nice resistance yet to be used as support, so I think that can give us at least a bit of a bounce. If you're looking to try and position yourself long for a big swing, back to highs, maybe all-time highs and further, then I would wait for that double bottom. I think that's the most sensible place for a buy. You can get a safe stop loss below the lows and give yourself the best chance to capitalize on a big swing. And USD being weak should help that. It might not necessarily help with the retracement, because we have to get there first. But if USD is going to be weak, which I do think it will be longer term, then that should help out gold buys. Bruce, what about dollar yen? So USDJ4 I do think is a nice place for a buy. I've been quite skeptical with my analysis with the yen pairs today. I still think yen can see some strength, can see a nice swing to the upside. A bit more skeptical about the swing all the way back to the high, because that's what was my plan coming into the week. I was looking for this, but I wasn't expecting such a big push down. I mean, for the most part, we haven't broken structure yet, and we have stayed very corrective. We have been very slow, very lethargic on the way down. It's not like we've been steamrolling to the downside, which is a key thing to note. It does make a huge difference how we do move in the market as well, whether we do it for a lot of momentum or very slowly. This definitely on the slower side of things does still imply to me that I do expect to see a bounce. I think as long as price can respect this low here, 143, 142, 500, we'll call it, buys still look good. I said early in the stream, if we can see a strong close here, this kind of does close in 2 hours and 40 minutes. If it can close well, I think that's a good entry signal on the 4-hour chart. Stops below the low and targets back to resistance there, 145, 500. I think that's a nice play. And then, yeah, we'll go from there, because perhaps we do respect 145 and perhaps we do come back down. So I think that'll be a sensible place to lock in gains at least. Of course, maybe we do see the swing back to highs. If that's the case, again, I would still lock in gains there, but leave positions to run just in case we do push on. But yeah, for dollar yen, I think it's still in a smart place for a buy. I would say strong reaction on the 4-hour chart justifies an entry, and some follow through. A key thing to keep an eye on would be the yen. I think it's still a nice place for a short. as I said earlier, as long as we don't break resistance here at 7K, I do think dollar yen can still, can give us a push down. If the yen basket does push down, because it is inversely correlated to the yen pairs. For anyone who doesn't know, the yen basket just is a catalog of all the major yen currencies together, and shows you how the yen is reacting to other currencies as a whole. If it's pushing up, it means yen is quite strong, stronger than most currencies. If the yen basket's pushing down, it's weaker than most currencies, if not all, if it's very weak. So I do expect to see a push down. So if we do see a push down, that does imply yen weakness, which of course should imply upside for the yen pair. So dollar yen, pound yen, euro yen, push up. But for now, I do think we can push down. And of course, another metric to keep tabs on, the DXY, which at the moment is pretty bullish. And that's probably what's giving us the bounce there for dollar yen. The strength in the USD right now at 99.6 roughly. I still think we can get a bit more dollar strength back into 100.4. I don't expect it to last forever, which is why I'm a bit more skeptical with my dollar yen, swing bias. I'm not necessarily looking for a swing back there anymore, mainly because my DXY bias has pivoted. At the start of the week, I was looking for price to hold on to this level as support, and I was looking for price to swing back into resistance here and continue. So hence dollar yen, I had a similar bias as well, looking for price to respect this area, if not this area here as well, for that swing back to highs. But now, because I've pivoted, I'm not as bullish on the DXY anymore. I'm just basically looking for a pullback for us to continue falling. That kind of is the same situation with dollar yen now as well. I'm looking for a pullback for that one to potentially continue falling. If I was the trader, I'd probably still leave positions to run just in case we do get back to the highs, because again, as a trader, you're not to know what the market's going to do. I think the worst thing to do as a trader is try and predict every move. It will drive you crazy. I've been there before. Not a great place to be in where you're trying to predict everything. All you can do is just take educated guesses, which is really what trading is, especially if you have discretionary outlook on the market. Educated guesses based on an edge, of course, of what the market is likely to do next. Well, not necessarily even likely, but what it could do next. Because if you're looking for big swings, I wouldn't say a big swing is ever likely to happen. But of course, if it does, the risk reward makes sense. But this swing could very much happen. A swing back to here could happen, then we can fall over. If it was me, I'll take the entry like this. Let's say we do close there. This candle's still got 2 hours left, but let's say we do close. Something like that would be a nice trade. Locking gains there. Maybe looking at 1 to 1.4, 1.5 roughly. Then I'll leave some positions to run there. Maybe close half here. Then close the rest there. That way I can still maximize my risk reward. But also, if we do roll over here, I don't walk away empty-handed as well. And I'll probably get my stop loss below the low here, just to give myself the most room to catch the swing. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with dollar yen. I do think Aussie yen looks a bit better, so I'm going to focus more so on that one. And I think the risk reward here is a bit better as well. So this is where I'm going to spend most of my time here for the yen pairs. Coming into a more meaningful level as well. You can see price support there being taken across. This will be acting as support again. Looking at basically a big inverse head and shoulder pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Support taken across. If we can hold that, I do think we can see a rally. So with that said, Aussie yen is my preferred yen pair to trade. New Zealand yen, same situation, but we're not quite there yet. When we do get there, I'll let you guys know, and I'll keep an eye on that for a buy as well. But yeah, not quite there yet. Aussie yen is. So this is the pair probably going to keep an eye on throughout the rest of today. Yeah, and if I do get a trade today, it'll probably be some longs in Aussie yen now. I did take a stab at this one yesterday, didn't play out, so now I'm looking for some re-entries. Hopefully we can get back involved and make back the loss there. But that's the beauty of risk reward. If you could look at a 1 to 3, even a 1 to 2, you make back your loss and you make an extra R as well. So You don't have to win every trade, be right every time to be successful. You just need to manage trades well and make sure that you're targeting well as well. But yeah, Aussie yen longs, New Zealand yen longs. I think the 5 pairs I would take a look at and keep on my watch list for the rest of the week is Aussie yen longs, New Zealand yen longs. So buys from down there. Ends the USD longs. So doubling up on NZD here. So buys from down there as well. So that's $3 CHF shorts I like as well. So that's 4. And I'll probably say Aussie CHF longs as well. That's 5. Those are the pairs I like the most. Yeah, off the top of my head, those are the pairs I like the most. But yeah, you can see I'm kind of going in heavy on Aussie and NZD. I do expect to see strength for those currencies based on my analysis anyway. So yeah, just waiting for momentum to really take charge and then find some buys following that. Otherwise, it's going to be a difficult one to gauge really. Of course, if they stay weak, I'll stay out the way, let them keep falling. If I don't get a strong sign of them developing and shifting, then I will actually just be cautious on that. Also, guys, I do want to remind you guys that I do have a upcoming project which is coming out very, very soon in the next few weeks, which does involve automation and trading using AI as well, using trading bots as well, which is something I've been working on for the past few months. And I'm very excited to show you guys. That will be coming out pretty soon. But it's definitely something that's an interesting side of trading, because as someone who's traded for a while and focused a lot on discretion and using my own trading decisions to take a trade or not, of course having set rules, using AI and using automation and bots as well is definitely something that can be a nice complement to the way you trade. Because I do think AI is coming to help aid traders, not necessarily take over traders. So if we could use AI to benefit our trading, well, that's particularly great as well, because AI is becoming very, very powerful, and that's today. Imagine the next 5 years as well. So definitely something to look into. Like I said, the project will be coming out soon in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so do look out for that. But it involves trading FX, crypto, stocks, metals, indices, you name it, different markets on automation. You can develop your strategies, develop your own sort of thinking. Everyone has their own strengths and their own ways of viewing the market. The idea is to kind of take that into a trading bot and allow that to trade for yourself based on your requirements and based on your metrics. Other people will be trading differently, and that's the key difference with AI and bots of the past. Bots of the past were very, very mechanical. You have to get everything kind of shaped up. With AI, you can give your own kind of indication of how you want to trade, and AI can even potentially improve that as well, and mold it to shape up and increase the profitability of that. Whereas bots is just 1 + 1 = 2. AI can potentially really look to expand on that and also do some thinking which maybe we as traders couldn't do in the past. So do look out for that. That'll probably be out within a couple of weeks' time. But again, it's not necessarily to replace traders, but to complement traders as well. And just a different way to hedge your trading as well. Because potentially whilst you're in drawdown, potentially you're trading automations in profit, and whilst that's in drawdown, maybe you're in profit as well. So do look out for that. But yeah, going into the week, I think I will be live again later today as well with Trader Nick on his channel. So do look out for that. We'll be live again later today on Trader Nick's channel. So keep an eye. We'll probably go through some of the news updates as well. We do have not the PMI, but jobless claims for USD beforehand. That's coming out at 1:30 UK time. I'll be live with him at 1:45 p.m. So in about an hour and 45 minutes from now. So if you're free, make sure you pop in, come say hi on his channel. Yeah, we'll discuss what is going on and see what he's looking to trade as well. I think he's also looking at Aussie and long, so I think quite a few people are. But yeah, got to be patient right now because things are still looking very, very bearish. But yeah, that's the plan there. I think Aussie yen looks the best today, so that's where my focus is. New Zealand yen nowhere near, NZD nowhere near, dollar CHF nowhere near, New Zealand CAD nowhere near as well. So all the other pairs I've talked about nowhere near my entry levels. So I don't really see much. I don't really see much opportunity apart from longs and Aussie. And even then, this might still take 24 hours to develop because I'm looking for price to create support, potentially double bottom. That requires us bouncing and then coming back again to bounce again. So that could take 24 hours as well, especially in the 4-hour chart. But nonetheless, trading's a waiting game anyway. You know, if you're not sitting on your hands most of the time, then you're probably doing something wrong. No problem, Dima. Happy to help. Glad you have found it useful. If you guys have enjoyed the stream, please be sure to drop a like as well, by the way. It does really help push the content out. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well. That helps grow the channel. So if you are liking what you see, please be sure to subscribe to the channel as well. It does really help out. And of course, hit the bell too. It does allow you to not miss a stream or an upload in the future. I will be streaming again tomorrow, as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. as always. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel too. That is linked in the description below. Free to join. You can find updates there regarding elevating traders. You can share ideas there, discuss with other people different ideas, share your own thoughts, your own setups that you're looking to trade. I share some of my ideas there as well. So if you are looking to join a community, because trading can get a little bit lonely sometimes, especially if you're new into trading, just you and yourself and your screen, it can get a bit lonely sometimes. Joining a community, talking to other people, other traders as well, can definitely provide you that support. And I think that can be very, very important, especially if you're feeling a little bit lost and you're new to trading. Even if you're experienced as well, sometimes it's nice just to talk to other people about trading. What's up, thoughts on the DAX? So yeah, like I said, for the DAX, just very, very bullish, to be honest. I do think we are due a bit of a pullback. So if we can see price perhaps pull back and retest the prior high, I think that could provide a nice opportunity. Because in my view, yes, the market's very bullish, but it does look like things are slowing down and potentially running out a bit of steam. So I would be looking for a pullback for this one. Preferably a retest of the high here. I have marked out this zone as a nice place for a buy. I remember when we had the first breakout, I did say a retest of the zone would be a nice buy. We didn't have that, but just because we didn't have the retest doesn't mean this zone isn't valid anymore or isn't a nice place to buy. It still is. So yeah, if this level doesn't hold, well, then that becomes my interest for the DAX. But yeah, very, very bullish. Just would wait for more of a pullback for this one and then the buy. Pips, yes, I do trade gold. It's not one of my most traded pairs, but I do look to trade gold whenever I get a good opportunity. I did miss some gold longs, actually. I was actually looking to enter some longs here, but the entry wasn't that great. And it was a little bit close to the channel there, so I opted not to. I wanted to get a slightly better entry. It would have been looking like this, which, I mean, I would be in profit at the moment, but the risk reward didn't really add up for me. So I stayed out of the position. But if we do come back down for a double bottom, that would interest me for a buy. Anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in and chatting with me and making the stream for what it is. I do really appreciate that. If you guys did enjoy it, please be sure to drop a like before you leave. It does really help out. I do really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel as well, and of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Like I said, check out the Discord channel linked in the description below. And also, I will be live again later today with Trading Nick, so go over to his channel in about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, and I'll be there as well. If not, I'm here again tomorrow on this channel, my channel, tomorrow at the same time, as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in and come say hi. But thanks again, guys. Take care, and I'll catch you all on the next one.